leap for India's space sector. ISRO is set to transfer launch technology to private sector. ISRO has developed a small satellite launch vehicle. ISRO has now opened up for the SSLV partnership with Indian firms, and the deadline for the project is July 22nd. And in fact, right now we are being joined by Abhishek Kapoor, a senior executive editor, to help us understand why this is important. Abhishek, already ISRO is taking a very big leap when it comes to space exploration when the Chandrayaan 3 mission will be launched. But right now we're seeing one more big leap for India's space sector. Take us through the details, Abhishek. All right, we'll just connect back with Abhishek Kapoor, our senior executive editor. But for now, it's a big leap for India's space sector. ISRO is set to transfer launch technology to private sector. ISRO has developed a small satellite launch vehicle. ISRO has now opened up for SSLV partnership with Indian firms, and the deadline for the project is July 22nd. So what we are seeing, viewers, that ISRO is set to transfer launch technology to the private sector. And this is a very big leap which is being taken by ISRO. Especially when we see abroad, and Abhishek is joining us back. Abhishek, when we see in US especially that a lot of private companies are also taking a big leap when it comes to space exploration. Now we're seeing ISRO transferring launch technology to the private sector, Abhishek.
Yes, absolutely. So this is a big leap for India's private sector insofar as space faring is concerned, Shivangi. The ISRO is essentially now decided to handhold the private sector with the complete transfer of technology insofar as launch of small satellites to the capacity of, or to the payload of 500 kg are concerned. And this expression of interest essentially means all those companies in the private sector which want to launch these small satellites and want their own satellite launch vehicles to be doing that, of course, in tie-up with ISRO, can now do that. They would be given complete transfer of technology of making these small satellite launch vehicles, which would, of course, be using ISRO facilities for carrying out their launch to begin with. At least earlier, ISRO has sort of given some component manufacturing of its polar satellite launch vehicle, which is a bigger satellite launch vehicle, to private sector. But this is the first time that complete transfer of technology has to happen in a small satellite category, and that's going to be big. This is a 3-stage solid launch vehicle, solid fuel launch vehicle, and there is an expression of interest now by 22nd of July, following which all those who express their interest would be called in. They would be explained the process, and the transfer of technology would happen subsequent to signing of a memorandum of understanding, possibly some commercial angle. What this means is, in few years from now, India is going to have a thriving private sector in the space industry, and we could be launching satellites for smaller developing economies, even developed countries, from the private sector instead of just ISRO doing it. And that's part of the larger plan which was encapsulated in India's space policy, which was released by the Modi government last year. As I mentioned, this is going to be a big development insofar as giving a fillip to India's space sector is concerned. Through the private sector route, ISRO, of course, has all the cutting edge in terms of space application and these technologies, but then this was only limited to ISRO. Now, with this move, the private sector is going to have capacities to launch satellites also. They have been making satellites, but they have been using ISRO services, but they can now do it on their own. Now, remember, for example, in the case of United States, we see Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos of Amazon. They're doing something in the space sector, and they're private companies. Or, for example, in the case of United Kingdom, the Virgin Galactic, for example. But these are big companies already. In the case of India, we are now beginning, and with these companies having transfer of technology by ISRO, would be slowly building their own muscle, possibly building their own huge satellite launches, and that's going to be a big plus for India's space sector.
All right, thank you, Abhishek Kapoor, senior executive editor, getting us all the top details coming in right now. It's a big leap for India's space sector. ISRO is set to transfer launch technology to the private sector. The deadline for one of the projects, the SSLV partnership, is now July 22nd.